earlier this week, if you remember, we talked to a farmer from Canterbury, and that was to do with nitrate levels in Canterbury. Now, I know for most of us who don't live in Canterbury or anywhere near it, that nitrate levels are not that worry us. But essentially it goes like this, as I understand it. All right. I should know, but nitrogen became a really cheap but very effective fertiliser to put on New Zealand grasslands. Particularly, it made the grass grow, and it made it grow very quickly, thank you very much. The more grass that grows, the more cows you can put on a particular paddock, and that suited particularly dairying, which is a very intensive form of agriculture. We know that the dairy herds of the Waikato, the Taranaki, where else Canterbury suddenly became very stocked with dairy cows because the nature of the land suited it in lots of ways. It was flat and it was already been intensively farmed for cropping, and now you could do that. And a good example of that were potato growers in South Canterbury. Great example of the conversion from potato growing into to dairies. And then obviously in Southland as well, where the grass grew. Now the problem when you put nitrogen, and too much nitrogen, is that it doesn't necessarily dissolve away into nothing. One of the residues of that is nitrates. And if they get into your water supply, then they cause health difficulties if they are above a certain level. So nitrate contamination's been an issue. If you remember rightly, earlier this year we talked to the Mayor of Waimate about nitrate levels there and how that they were denitrifying their drinking water to make sure that it was safe to drink, obviously. But in Canterbury, which has become a sort of flashpoint for this particular issue, there is an argument between, I guess, if you like, the agricultural sector, the farming sector, if you like, and between some of the more extreme environmentalists as to the poison that is alleged that is going into or permeating through into the aquifer, into rivers and streams and into drinking water. And there is something of a serious difference of opinion. Well, and as you know, the Canterbury Regional Council have been riven by this particular issue to the point that this week, at its final meeting for the year of this particular term, by a very small majority, ECAN carried a motion to declare a nitrate emergency in the whole of the Canterbury region. Now, I read a nitrate emergency as to mean that there is something significant, dangerous and destructive carrying on in that particular issue. It followed survey data which showed that rising E. coli and nitrate concentration was in Canterbury's groundwater. The Agriculture Minister Todd McClay has declaimed the decision of the Canterbury Regional Council. He says it's a gimmick. And that reports of a nitrate emergency are overstated. He also said it's an important point here away from politics, and we've got to continue to work hard to get the rules right and to give the tools to farmers and other users of the area to get nitrate levels down. So he seems to accept that they are too high in certain areas. But one of those councillors that was there for that vote and feels that obviously there is something wrong with grandstanding 3 weeks before an election. It joins us now, and he is Councillor Ian McKenzie. Ian, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Nick.
Where's Ian?
Yep.
Oh, I can hear you, Ian. Sorry, I couldn't hear my friend.
My
problem. No, I can hear you now. Thank you very much. Listen, Ian, first of all, tell us about yourself. Where do you come from?
South and east of Ashburton, so down towards the coast between Ashburton and Hines.
Okay, all right. And you've been a regional councillor for how long?
6 years.
Okay. And you were part of this particular meeting that declared a nitrate emergency. Is it true that Canterbury has dangerous levels of nitrate in its drinking water?
Well, I think you've got to just define what is dangerous levels of nitrates in the first place. So the World Health Authority best medical advice is that 22.7 parts per million is the safe level, and New Zealand set its safe level at 11.3, which is half the international level because nitrates go up and down, and that should ensure a degree of safety. But there are some hotspots in Canterbury, and we've known about those for 30 or 40 years. And nitrates in general, the general trend has been going up until what we think is only till recently, and now we think the trend might be starting to level off, and even in some cases there's a suggestion the levels may be starting to come down.
So I'm assuming that the nitrate levels are linked to nitrogen fertilizer being put on the land. How long are you saying that
Yeah,
that's
no,
been
no,
what?
no, no,
Yeah,
no.
go.
Can I just cut in here?
Yeah.
Because in your preamble you talked about the link between nitrogen fertilizer. What is clearly is between high nitrates is a higher level of intensification. So and it depends on what the source of nitrates are.
Sorry,
But when I
you're
was at
cutting out for
university
me.
and
Yeah. So, Ian, I'm sorry, just to interrupt. We can't hear you properly. You're sort of fading in and out. I'm getting every second word. So we'll get you on the phone. Could you do that for me, Josh, please? And we'll get Ian back because this is too important a conversation. So as I said, it was nitrogen fertilizer. Sorry, I should have, and also cows, because when they urinate in large volumes into a particular issue, exude, don't they? Nitrogen or nitrate as well. So we'll come to that. Does this river nitrate thing a gimmick to do with the Idiot Guy Williams TV series? No, I don't think it is. But look, Ian, can we hear you better now?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, that's much better. So you're talking
Yeah.
about nitrate pollution being not just from nitrogen fertilizer, but mostly you're saying from the
Yeah.
intensification of what?
So-
urine
so-
from cows.
No, it's actually, look, what I was about to say was when I was at university, there was a chap, Kim Stevenson, who did his master's on nitrate loss from clover seed crop paddocks, and he was measuring numbers around 600 kilograms per hectare from a good clover seed crop, which was then fallowed over the winter. So it's what it is. It's about nitrates in some form, in any form in the soil, and a lot of it's tied up in pasture, clover crops, those sorts of things, mineralizing at some stage, and Canterbury droughts are a great way of encouraging mineralization. Then which means that the organic matter breaks down into its mineral components. The mineralized nitrate then becomes available to leach, and so some of our hotspots in Canterbury, the historic hotspots, including the one that the regional council surveyed for this water quality test the other day, were tested 40 years ago as being high, and it's highly likely that was as a result of clover seed crop production. New Zealand used to be the biggest producer of clover seed in the world.
So the variety. So, but it also. I'm sorry. I'm just reading that from the Land, Air and Water from Lewa that they say that nitrogen fertilizer hasn't made anything any better though.
No, absolutely not. So then you've had this general level of intensification across the Canterbury Plains, to which dairy farming and more intensive cropping and sheep and potato farming and all sorts of horticultural crops. All those crops, they use nitrogen fertilizer, and that has all continued to contribute to the rising background levels of nitrates.
Okay, all right. So what you're saying at the moment is that the nitrate levels you're testing in groundwater in Canterbury that have the potential to affect water supply, you don't know if they're immediate or historic.
Well, we do know that the ones that they tested for that survey are historic because exactly the same bores had exactly the same levels of nitrates 40 years ago.
All right, okay. And but you're saying that it's got no. Well, the allegation of the Mike Joys and the environmental activists on this matter is that they are now reaching dangerous levels in Canterbury, and are
So
a effect upon human health. You don't agree with that?